testes, 1, 2, 3.
Usually I sing.
Yeah, you do. Well, we're recording, so let's do the episode that I didn't have to prep for.
No, you prepped for it. We both prepped for it. This took some prep. And actually, the whole season is prep for this episode.
So you're saying words that should go into the episode now?
I feel like... So as many times as I've listened to the way that you, and actually also I edit the episodes, we always start with something like, are we recording now? Is it now?
Well, that's just like what Radio Lab.
I know. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, so my assumption is basically at this point that, like, as soon as we're recording that it's fair game.
Right.
Okay, hold on. Let's reset. Welcome to Cult or Just Weird.
I'm Chris.
And I'm also Chris.
Oh, that was supposed to be funny.
It was. I thought that was funnier that way.
You, like, twisted the twist?
Yeah.
I'm Kayla, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man, I'm sure everybody was super confused.
They were all very confused about it.
Yeah. Well,
welcome.
Okay. Well, now it's cleared up.
I want to be the first one to say, I'm going to beat you in saying, welcome to our 20th episode of Cult or Just Weird.
Number 20.
Good job.
Yeah.
Chris is bilingual.
Thanks.
He's not. Don't let him fool you.
20 Supreme del Taco.
Get out. And this is not just our 20th episode. This is also our season 1 finale, our season 1 closer.
We didn't even plan that it was the 20th episode. No. It just happened that way.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you, like, how much that gives my, like, oddly satisfying brain satisfaction.
It's just like, you know what it's like? It's like when the DVD logo hits the corner. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
This episode
or that TikTok where that guy has that vacuum cleaner.
And it just fits right under his bookshelf.
In just perfectly. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's like that.
So this episode is about perfection, really.
Yeah.
That perfect feeling.
We are perfect.
Do you want to kind of explain what we're doing with this episode? We're doing something a little different this week.
So we're doing a clips show where we pretend like we have some sort of pretense for, like, you know, remembering stuff, and then we just play clips, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Do you remember the Seinfeld clip shows? They wouldn't even do that. It was literally it would be like Jerry, and he was like putting on a jacket, and he'd go, "Oh, hi. Welcome to the Seinfeld 100th episode."
No.
Yes, it's horrible. It's literally him talking to the audience and being like, "And we like to talk about family." And then they'll go to, like, a whole bunch of clips of, like not George's mom yelling at him.
That sounds like something that, like, people are like, what are we going to do for the clip show? And Larry David was probably just like, let's just have Jerry introduce it and play some clips.
Yeah.
Well, we need it to be like a frame of some kind.
People are there for the clips. They're not there for this frame story.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's what it is. So we're doing slightly more work than that.
Oh, so it's not clips. So yes, I'll introduce what this is for our 20th and season finale episode. We're doing the Culties. Da, 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 da. Is that what they play at the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we... can we get some Oscar music and play it, like, right now? That's what we should do. Splice it in, though, not... Okay, you're just going to play it. So, welcome to the Culties, the first annual gala extravaganza. Walking down the red carpet, we have... look at that. Is that...
We're probably not allowed to... Is that Charles Manson?
Is that Jay-Z Knight there? Oh, I love what... Is she wearing Gucci?
Teal Swan is draped in purple, and her aura is a wonderful azure color. We can't play this music.
Why not? Fuck, who gives a shit?
This is like original...
Fair use, Kayla.
This is original Oscars Academy Award music.
Fair motherfucking use. Come at me, bro.
All right, welcome to the Culties.
Oh, is that John Frum stepping out of that limo? Oh, he looks gorgeous.
John Frum would not be cut dead in a limo. Are you kidding me?
John Frum's no longer alive.
John Frum would drive himself powered solely by the American dream.
That's a good point. That's a good... Right. Oh, boy.
He would definitely drive a Dodge.
So anyway, welcome to the Culties, in which we basically just talk about the season.
Right.
But with a framework of, we have a bunch of categories, and per the usual Cult or Just Weird format, Kayla and I have kept our individual categories that we want to rank the cults from the season, and we've kept them secret from each other.
We're giving our episodes awards from us.
Yes. No. Hold up.
Yes.
No, we're not giving the episodes awards, okay? We're giving awards to the topics, to the people. Like, we'll send Teal a little trophy thing.
I'm not sending nothing to Teal.
What would our trophy be? Like, it wouldn't be a gold Mr. Oscar.
I think it would be the W from our logo. Just like a gold version.
Like a gold W with the
eye.
With a little eye.
Yeah.
So it would just be, wouldn't that be the Weirdies then? Should these be the Weirdies?
I guess it could be the C. But then it just looks like Coco Chanel.
Maybe it should be just the whole thing. I don't know. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. Because we have to get a bunch of these cranking.
Right.
Because we're about to give them out.
Teal. Teal gets all the...
Why is it? No, Teal. No, that's not true.
You brought her up. All right.
Who goes first?
Before we jump into our culties, I think we should I'm going to just do a quick reminder, a quick recap of all of the incredible topics we were able to cover this year in order.
Yes.
So we started the year off with best friends.
Yes, as best friends, we started the year. What was the topic?
I'm not doing this.
Well, I'm sorry, but at the Oscars, they start...
I'm not bantering.
They start with stand-up. Right.
Yeah, and it's dumb and bad.
Yeah, it's Billy Crystal, isn't it, still? When's the last time he hosted? Like 12 years ago?
No, last year. I don't know. I don't watch the Oscars. So we started the year covering Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. And then the next episode, you talked about Ramtha and her School of Enlightenment. Mm-hmm. Then we talked about the city of Irvine. Then we talked about the game Star Citizen, which... Mm-hmm. I'm getting you that for Christmas. 5. Fifth.
No, you're not, because I still
it doesn't exist. Yeah, I'm getting you nothing for Christmas then. Our 5th topic was the aforementioned Teal Swan.
Solid episode.
Then the one after that was the aforementioned John from Cargo Cults. Mm-hmm. Then we had our massive... Was it a 2-part episode, or was it just a huge episode of 3301, Cicada 3301?
3301, I think it was just one, 9-hour hardcore history length episode.
Then we talked about Mary Kay. Then we talked about the rest.
Yes, yep. MLMs. There will be more MLMs to come in the future. And that was the episode where we had our very first interview on the show, and we had 2 of them.
Oh yeah, we did.
We had Miss Nancy Carlson and Tracy Conan.
Then we talked about the restaurant Loving Hut, run by Supreme Master Ching Hai. Then we talked about...
We got to eat for that one, so that was my favorite.
The best. Then we talked about your favorite topic. You know what it is?
Why is this my favorite topic?
World Church of the Creator.
Oh, because it was horrible.
Horrible. Worst topic. I'm sad we did it.
But then we talked about nice stuff, remember?
We did talk about nice stuff in that episode. It was nice.
That was nice.
Then we did a definite 2-parter where we talked about tulpas.
Yep. That was long.
After that was insurance.
Fascinating.
When you talked about Woodman.
Wow, our freaking podcast is boring.
Well, then the next one was Spirit Halloween, so it was just about the retail apocalypse.
So we talked about racists, insurance, business
best
stuff.
Business practices, and then DNA sequencing. Wow. Epigenetics. Good with
Lord.
MT Jafar.
MT Jafar.
And Ben Lynch.
Is how you pronounce it, according to Ben Lynch.
And
that was when we had our second interview on the show.
Yep.
Dr. David Gorski, who was an excellent and great interview person. What do you call him? Interviewee. Expert witness. So we covered 14 topics this year, which is pretty good. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Just jamming those ideas down your ear holes.
So
you're welcome.
Let's start giving these awards.
Since you just did the whole list of episode topics,
yeah.
I guess I could kick us off if you would like. Okay.
Actually, can I go? Because I want to make sure.
Oh my God.
I
literally just asked.
I want to do this one, and I worry that you will have it, and I don't want you to take it from me.
That's why we did a whole bunch, just because we assumed I guarantee that's going to happen with some of them.
One.
Right. That's very selfish of you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So for our first cultie of the evening, I would like to know which cult would you most like to join?
Oh my God, that is definitely not only is that on my list, that was my number one in my stack rank. So that literally would have been the first thing I said.
Well, I'm glad that I went first.
Oh God, we're gonna just have all the same shit.
That's fine. So
the cult
for this category, I'm presenting it not as which cult or just weird would you want to join. It's which thing have we deemed a cult would you most want to join.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No, it can't be any topic?
No.
What?
That can be a different one. This is cult. Because which cult or just weird would you want to join? Like, you're going to say, like, I just want to be friends with the tulpas. Like, that's boring.
Okay, so it's probably creativity.
Don't.
By the way, I'm going to write down our answers just so we have them recorded throughout all time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so...
If you had to join a cult, which one would it be?
I'm actually going to one-up you here, and I'm going to say most like to join and least like to join.
Okay.
Although, actually, maybe that's super easy, because the one
creativity.
I just said.
Creativity is absolutely the least we want to join.
Oh, shit. So here's the thing I don't remember is what
we called things?
What we called things.
Well, it's fine. Then maybe it should just be which topic. Which topic do you most want to join?
We should record what we do.
Yeah, we should.
But, like, we already record, so I guess I
write it down.
Write it down.
Yeah.
I feel like Star Citizen is a strong candidate, which is why I asked that, because I don't remember whether we called them a cult or... I think we didn't call them a cult.
Right.
So that would have been strong. I think tulpas would have been strong if it was a cult. I think we determined that cargo cults weren't actually cults.
Right.
Ooh.
We were split on 3301.
We were split on that one. I mean, that seems like a good one because that's like a fun puzzle.
Right. I mean, I think that for me, it's 3301, and then the second is either Best Friends or Loving Hut. But I think 3301 is.
But it's like your joint. Like for those, it feels like you. Like I want to eat at Loving Hut, and I want to go volunteer again at Best Friends, but I'm not sure I want to like join the cult.
I want to worship Satan and the devil.
Oh, right. I guess they had a pretty rad religion. But they're done with that stuff now, so I guess...
So they say. So they front-facingly say. I don't believe it. And then with Loving Hut, like, so you own a restaurant and do yoga and be a vegan. Like, I want that anyway.
Actually, yeah, if I joined their cult, I don't think I'd be able to eat meat anymore. So I guess I'm going to go with Best Friends.
All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Best Friends and 3301. You each win a cultie.
Yeah, because I don't know. Because Best Friends, like, yeah, they have some weird shit going on, but then you just get to, like, pet dogs and cats and, like, live in the beautiful Utah wilderness. So
Right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay, so what if we did least like to join, but we discounted creativity?
Well, then it's like, shit. Then it's
then
teal.
It's interesting,
then it's
right?
Teal.
Is it teal? Are you sure?
No.
Are you sure it's not Ramtha?
Shit. It actually...
It's probably teal.
No. I think it's Empty Jafar for me.
Really?
I almost think that's more immoral.
Just because of how widespread or what? Because, like, I don't know, man. Teal is, like, possibly good at getting people to kill themselves.
But we've been presented with evidence that she also provides a service for people who are in crisis and then can utilize her techniques to not. Whereas, like...
We've also I read accounts of people that defend Ben Lynch and say, like, he helped me with my medical issue, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but they're wrong.
I mean, maybe so are the people that say that about Teal.
For sure.
Maybe they were...
For some reason, if you're presenting yourself... Because she doesn't present... She says, like, I'm a medical savant, or whatever. She's like a fucking kook. She's not presenting herself as fake-ass Dr. Ben Lynch. Like, she's not calling herself Dr. Swan. So
she's being super forthcoming and not saying anything that's not true. Like, I have access to all human knowledge.
No, that's absolutely a lie. But like, it's.
I'm just saying she's giving.
She's not. Yes. Here's why. We've talked so many times about how the most dangerous woo is the woo that is like the most on the knife's edge, and Empty Jafar is way more on the knife's edge than Teal.
That's fair. But I think what I'm contesting though is that I think she is still putting on a false mantle of authority.
Sure.
For sure. because she says she has magic. She says she has access to. It doesn't matter if she says she's a doctor or not. She says she's better than a doctor. She says
and that's fine.
Has access to all of the knowledge of all human experience of all time. And if you go to a doctor, you're probably just going to get blah, blah, blah.
And that still feels less immoral to me than somebody being like, than somebody being a fucking leech in an established scientific field. Like, if you are calling yourself doctor and you're not a doctor and you're, like, trying to prop yourself up as, like, as utilizing the same language as the people you're saying you're better than, that to me feels different than what Teal's doing. If you're saying, I'm a doctor, I'm Dr. Ben Lynch, and you're not a doctor.
I have to have different answers on this one, too. So yours is...
I think I would rather... At least Teal is, like, magic exists. And Dr. Ben Lynch is just, like, butting up against epigenetics. Butting up against eugenics.
Right. I mean, there is something that's shitty about, like, bastardizing science. That's something that both he and Jay-Z Knight are guilty of. And that's pretty shitty.
Maybe she's more immoral because she's, like, killed her husband.
Yeah. What about... I was going to say MLM, but the only, like, real MLM we did other than just the primer was Mary Kay. Mary Kay doesn't seem... that bad compared to MT Jafar and Teal, but if it was like Amway though, maybe I don't know. What if it was Nexium?
Okay, well that's its own thing. I think that it's a very close three-way tie between Ramtha, Teal, and Ben Lynch, but I think for me, Ramtha does beat them both.
You think so?
I think Ramtha does beat them both.
No,
but partly because of like. I've had the most direct experience with that.
Oh,
like,
sure.
I experienced Ramtha, like, literally coming into my life and fucking shit up and, like, and it was the most minor thing, just, like, being in a college class and, like...
Okay, but you don't think that Rhonda Wimmer was, like, would totally be down with all this MT Jafar shit?
I'm sure she's teaching it.
Down. She's probably she would... That's the whole thing, is that it's, like, now she can say, like... Oh, it's science. It's epigenetics. You can totally control mind over matter and make your water crystals happy or whatever.
But if I'm trying to pick the one I would least like to join, I think it's going to end up being Ramtha with MT Jafar and Teal Swan a close second.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Teal, but it is pretty close amongst those three. You're right. Okay, so first culty goes to most like to join... for Kayla, 3301, least is MT Jafar. For Chris is best friends and Teal Swan's cult.
Those are two completely different culties. What are you saying?
Okay, fine. The first two culties then, but it's two sides of the same culty.
Oh, gotcha. Two sides of the same culty.
Least and most,
gotcha,
right?
Gotcha.
Is whatever.
Right.
Okay. For our next culty, the question is: who is the charismatic leader that you would most and also least? So we're going to do another...
All of mine are most and least, too.
That you would most and least like to have dinner with.
Okay, so and it can be anyone?
Anyone that we've talked about. We haven't talked to any of them, sadly. That would be freaking awesome if we could get any of them on the show.
I think it's Donald Bren.
For most or least?
I think most.
For most?
Yeah, because he's such a secret. He's such a hidey secret. And because since we're watching Succession right now, I'm just assuming that every billionaire is like really Shakespearean cool ass.
Yeah,
character.
I'm sure everything is that dramatic in real life. Yeah.
It's Donald Bren.
Donald Bren. Why? Yeah. You're not even
Donald Bren. As a refresher, Donald Bren is the gentleman who owns the Irvine Company, which owns the city of Irvine. And he's a very secretive billionaire. He's like he's the wealthiest real estate developer in the country, right?
Yes.
He's definitely up there.
Oh, I think he is for sure. He's clearly.
And he's just very out of the public eye, out of the public spotlight. And so that to me is
That's
like,
so
I want to have dinner with you. I want to know what's going on.
This one is really tough for me because there's a lot of like really fascinating characters.
Right.
Like Chris Roberts would be a really interesting person.
I think I would just be so annoyed by him. I think he'd be
you'd be annoyed by a lot of these folks.
Teal I can't do because I'd be too worried about getting sucked in. I'm not kidding.
I think, but Teal's on my it's gonna be hard for me to pick. Teal's up there because I think she would be an interesting person to talk to, and I'm less worried about.
Right, you're less worried about getting sucked in.
You almost did get sucked in already. So
Jay-Z Knight,
Jay-Z Knight, I would love to have dinner with Jay-Z Knight, even though she's awful.
I don't think I could stomach it. She killed her husband,
and she's like hyper racist now.
Yeah, I couldn't stomach it.
Actually, she would probably be like super intolerable. She would probably be like talking to the manager about her burger being not cooked right and stuff.
Well, that's why, like, I wouldn't want to have dinner with Supreme Master Shanghai because I think that should be really. I think Supreme Master Shanghai would be really boring.
Yeah,
I think
Jay-Z would also be super
boring.
like full of herself too.
Oh yeah,
like she wouldn't even want to talk to me.
You wouldn't know if you're talking to Jay-Z Knight, if you're talking to Ramtha, if you're talking to Joan or whatever her name is. Very upsetting. And Dr. Ben Lynch, I definitely don't want to have dinner with him because I don't care.
What about Joseph Cullen? I guess he's dead.
No! So, well, I guess he's least. He's least.
No, why is he least, dude? His life was insane. He like...
Oh, okay. I thought Joseph Cullen was the creativity guy.
No. That's the sore thumb here. Like, everything we say from now on in this episode is not counting creativity.
No, white supremacists.
No, jeez. No, Joseph Cullen Root, the founder of both Woodmen of America and Woodman Life.
No, I don't... He probably is extremely sexist and probably a racist.
He'd have like boring. Well, he's okay. Yeah, I mean, he's a product of his times.
Yeah, okay. So I don't want to hang out with him.
He probably had like a nice transatlantic accent going.
No one actually had that. It's a fake thing.
that was never people didn't talk like that in real life ever.
No, it was a movie thing.
Yeah, but didn't that? I thought that like then bled into.
I think that anybody who had a transatlantic accent like was putting it on.
I think you're exhibiting some trans denialism here.
It's not a funny joke.
I think that it is. Anyway, okay, so maybe not Joe Cullen. I don't know. I think he'd be super interesting. I don't know.
I'm saying he's not on my list. He can be on your list. That's fine.
They're basically all on my list because they're all fascinating. But maybe John Frum is my answer because he's like mythical. And then if I'm, utilizing the magic genie power of you can have dinner with anyone, I want to see who the genie plucks out of history for me to talk to. Like,
that's a really good answer.
Who is that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with John Frum.
I'm sticking with Don Bren. Even though that's definitely the wrong answer now that you
talked
about John Frum.
Maybe not, because it might just be like, oh, here it is. It's this American GI. And he'll just be like, hey, I was in the Pacific War.
That's still fascinating.
I know, but I already know a bunch about that.
Oh, you don't.
I'm just saying, like, I listen to Hardcore History. They're talking about the Pacific War right now.
You wouldn't want to talk to a person who actually was there.
Okay, no, fair. Plus, if he's the progenitor John Frum, then he's definitely got something interesting to say.
Right. So who's so John Frum for you, Donald Bren for me.
Most.
Who's your least?
My least, again, discounting
the racist.
Discounting creativity again. I mean, for me, least has to be like most boring because like for me it's not like, oh, I really don't like teal.
Well, then it's probably Ben Lynch. He's probably the most boring.
Yeah.
Do you remember his fucking About Me? It was like
pretty dull.
10 years after I was born, I turned 10. Finally reached my height of 6'5".
Yeah.
Like, if that's what you have to say about yourself, I don't want to have dinner with you.
Mary Kay for most.
Could be her.
No, it's not as good as John Frum. It's not as good as John Frum. Okay.
I think my least is Jay-Z.
Your least is Jay-Z, really?
It's between Jay-Z and the Star Citizen guy. I hate him.
Just because you just, like, she's despicable?
She's despicable. The thought of sharing air with her makes my cells clench. It makes
just a thought, a single thought.
Yeah, exactly, a single thought about.
And I become nauseated.
I don't think I could do it. I think I'd want to fucking hit her. Like,
sorry for those of you who haven't seen What the Bleep. We might have mentioned this on episode 2, but
is it how it ends or how it starts?
No, it's in the middle of it. At some point.
Sure?
I think so. But anyway, they interview her several times. I believe she's presented as Ramtha.
She's presenting as Ramtha when she says that.
And she says, with just a thought, a man gets an erection.
A single thought.
And it's, I guess, the illustration that, like,
the way your thinking changes reality. Because, physiology isn't a thing.
Right. And also, like, why boners, man? Why is that the thing? Like, not like just a thought. You can control how you breathe instead of like being automatic breath. No, boner. Single thought.
A man can get an erection.
Boner time.
Yep.
Yeah, we know where your mind's at.
Shocking. God, no, I could not have dinner with her. No, least.
Yeah, she's intolerable. Okay, so My least, I think honestly it's Spirit Halloween. Oh wait, we didn't say they were a cult.
We didn't really have a charismatic leader for them, and they're not a cult.
No, it was their founder. It was the business founder.
What was his name? I forget. Joseph Marver. Joseph Marver is the guy who founded Spirit Halloween. Got it.
Yeah, so Joseph Marver, nothing against Joseph Marver, but like, we already have like an interesting billionaire to have dinner with on the list, and you're not as interesting as Donald Bren, sorry. So I don't know, like I think it's like close between him and Ben Lynch because they're both they seem both very just milquetoast.
Normal dudes. Don't call them milquetoast. They might listen. Joseph Marver. Also, okay, Joseph Marver.
Oh, no.
Joseph Marver didn't do anything
that's
wrong.
That's like the worst thing we've said on the show.
He's a nice man. There's nothing wrong he did. He's fine.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's bad. He built a business that people love. And
he invented an entire style of business.
That is great. I'm just not sure he'd be super interesting to have dinner with. I don't know.
I think that M.T. Jafar would be way less interesting. He would sit down and he'd be like, hello, in 1988, I turned 10. In 1998, I turned 20 and reached my final height of 6'5".
Also, make sure you're eating enough spinach. Thank you. Okay, fine. You've convinced me. It's Ben Lynch.
There we go.
Fine.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Next topic.
Next category.
So here's one for you. Doesn't have.
Do we have envelopes we can hand to people on the stage when they come?
When best friends comes to accept their culty.
Yeah.
Or when the city of Irvine.
I'm assuming Jay-Z and Ben Lynch are on their way right now to get their least want to have dinner with us award.
Don't think it would.
Maybe we can have dinner with them to present them the award.
I don't think it would be good for us if either of them were on their way here.
Well.
So for this one, there's no duality here. It's pretty straightforward. What, for you, was the hardest episode?
I'm assuming again we are discounting creativity.
No, if that's it, that's it. Was creativity harder than MTHFR? Because you got.
Well, I guess it kind of depends, right? Like I need to think about. I need to think about what you mean by hardest. Some topics, so like creativity would be hardest in terms of like, it was hard to see all that gigantic list of Holocaust denialism and kids' word searches with like racist word and so that was tough. And then some of the topics were just like a lot of work,
right?
So like MLMs was a lot of work, but I think the product was really good, the show. Same thing with MTHFR, like it was a ton of work and took a while to get all the interview and everything lined up, and it was a little disorienting to kind of like navigate through that. But at the end of the day, I really like that episode, and I personally feel a little maybe better than I did to begin with, because now like it's sort of like I've been in the muck and like people have helped me figure out how to sort of like navigate that better, and I think I have like a clearer understanding of hey, people that are creative are not necessarily the same types of people that are able to be skeptical or able to stay in those rails of rational thinking.
Right.
And maybe we don't even want it to be that way, honestly. Like,
right.
Maybe this is tangent, but one of my favorite books on creativity, one of the things he talks about is how the creative process, like you're kind of like wearing different hats, and sometimes it's different people wear different hats, like if you're a company.
Right.
Or maybe it's just different phases of the project. You need to wear different hats, but he has like 4 that he talks about.
You should name the book.
Oh, it's called Whack on the Side of the Head.
Yeah, it's a good book.
And just for more reference, I got that from my reading of Mark Rosewater's articles and he's the Magic the Gathering guy, so got to talk about Magic the Gathering again on the show.
Well, topic for season 2.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll eventually mention Disney and Jurassic Park here. But anyway, it's called Whack on the Side of the Head. It's really good. The roles he talks about are explorer, artist, judge, and soldier. And so the basic idea is that the explorer, when you're in the explorer role, it's all about like, just like, it's like your brainstorming time. It's like just just looking up ideas. It's like your brainstorming thing from the class that you're taking right now.
Seeing what sparks your
just trying to get the spark going. You're just going through magazines and reading things. You're just trying to generate ideas.
Right.
And then the artist phase is like where you start like articulating a vision. It's like very designy. It's very like, okay, now I'm actually like making the thing. I'm actually, writing. I'm actually painting. I'm actually coding the game, whatever. And then the judge phase is sort of like, now I'm looking at what was made and saying like, this should go, this should stay. Quality on this isn't up to par. We need to redo that again. And the thing is by separating all these things out, you make it easier to do each thing without having another thing interfere. Right. So if you're in the artist phase, it's like basically interference if you're like trying to judge too much what you're doing or, whatever. Or in the case of like a larger organization, that's like part of why QA is separated from design. It's not just to like save time. It's also because you want your developer to be more about like, okay, I'm going to make stuff and be creative and whatever. And then somebody else's job is to like be the quality assurance, is to check that stuff. And then obviously you have to, send it back and whatever for bugs. But the point is, you separate those out. And then Soldier is sort of like, I've done my brainstorming. I built a thing. I checked it for quality. And now I'm going to go like fight for it in the market.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
So, and that's like, marketing and whatnot, publishing for a company. Anyway, the reason I bring all that up is tying it all the way back. I think that there's even just like people that are better at one of those things than another of those things. Right. So somebody that's winning a Nobel Prize, they may be a really good artist. Or maybe they're good explorers and artists, right? They can synthesize a lot of different ideas together and articulate a vision and then, discover something or create something. But they might not be the best judges.
Right.
Right? And so then somebody else that's a better judge. So by thinking about it in those sort of like separate terms, it sort of helps me think about like, okay, it's less distressing to think of somebody winning a Nobel Prize as later being a quack, because that's not what their brain is necessarily geared to do. Right. In any case, your question for me was, what was the hardest episode? Yes. If I'm including editing, it's probably the MLM episodes, because that was really tough editing. But I don't think I should. I think that I'm gonna say Empty Jafar, just because even though now I feel better about everything and I'm like more stable about whatever, it was still a lot of work, and it was a lot of work to get the interview secured, and it was a lot of work to do all that research, and I talked to so many different people. It was definitely the most like extensive I've looked into one of our topics. Right. That makes sense. So that's my long-winded answer to your very short question.
Yeah, that was a long answer. Mine's 3301.
Why 3301?
Because you remember that was the one where I was like flipping out because I was like, this is too hard. It's too big.
Oh, because there's too much stuff.
That's the one that I compared to measuring the coastline.
Oh, right.
Because the problem with 3301 is that it's very difficult to explain in a meaningful way without like going down a series of rabbit holes. Because you can say like, oh, 3301, it's like a group, a mysterious group that like kind of runs these online, digital scavenger hunts. Right. And that does not accurately paint the picture of what 3301 is.
But then if you zoom in,
and so to accurately paint, you have to keep it's like a fractal. You keep zooming in and zooming in and zooming in, and you feel like you're not getting any closer to the end. You're not getting any closer to like the starting point, because it's just like, okay, well, I can explain
Why do you think
the things that they do, but then I have to explain like what steganography is, and then to explain steganography, you have to keep explaining things.
Why do you think 3301 was more that way than other topics that you've done?
Because other topics that I've done haven't been so like internet, like I think it's really about it being like internet and like computational is probably not the right word, but like,
I mean, Teal's on the internet.
Teal is on the internet, but it's really easy to go. I mean, okay, I can explain who Teal is and what she does in a more accurate way without really digging into the details of like what the Akashic records are. Like, you don't need to understand what the Akashic records are in order to like fully understand, to have a more full understanding of what Teal is. But I think with 3301, it's difficult to explain it's difficult to communicate how fucking cool the topic is without giving necessary context. Like, I think so
There's
much
a lot
of
of
it
domain
requires
knowledge
context.
For that one. Yeah.
And like part of why it's difficult is because it's specifically like they're specifically trying to weed people out. And these other groups are the opposite of that. Like
right.
Teal wants to weed out people that aren't going to be her followers, but she wants to cast a wide enough
she was casting a wide net. Yeah.
That they're not.
She was working the algos.
Are trying to, because like the people are trying to make money and they're trying to grow a following.
Right.
They are trying to be accessible, whereas 3301 is trying to be inaccessible.
Right.
It is trying very hard to be inaccessible.
And then you come along with your podcast and try to make it more accessible for all these rubes.
I tried, and it was very hard.
But I mean, I do remember that about that episode, is that to really appreciate a lot of the step-by-step narrative of 3301, I remember each time we had to stop and go like, okay, here's what PGP is.
Right.
Okay, here's what was that image? I don't even remember what the image hiding. Outguess.
Yeah, steganography.
Yeah, steganography. Yeah, so yeah, like I had to appreciate what that is to understand. So yeah, there was a lot of just like...
And it was still like very surfacey. We could have spent an entire hour on like each step of every single one of their puzzles.
That's
we really
crazy.
could have. And so I think that for me, that was the most difficult. The only one that like really compared was the Tulpas episode. And that was simply because of like trying to synthesize so many individual experiences. Like I was so lucky with that episode that so many people from the Tulpas Reddit wanted to talk and wanted to share their experiences with me. And again, like I'm so thankful for that. And like thank you again.
I hope
to
some
everyone.
of them are still listening.
Me too. But there was difficulty in synthesizing that and trying to like distill it because I wanted to share everyone's story and I couldn't without it being, like a 15-hour episode.
Right. Bonus content.
Yeah, God, seriously. Woo. Oh no, we did. Yeah, if you want to check out every single person that spoke to me, I put everything that was said into a document that's available on our Patreon. So if you're interested in learning more about individual Tulpa experiences,
then you have to give us money.
Give us money.
You have to give us money to read things that other people said.
Yeah.
Because that's how content aggregation works.
Is a cult. I will die
it's 2019.
On that hill.
I know. Full disclosure, that was almost the season finale.
Yeah, why wasn't it?
Well, because we liked this idea better, number one. And number two, we also have like some stuff coming up in season 2 that's
I think the overall theme of season 2 might be, is capitalism a cult?
Maybe. I have a pretty wide variety of things planned.
Okay. I'll figure out how to tie them all back to capitalism.
But several of them, one of them is like pretty clearly it's not capitalism is a cult, it's the cult of capitalism.
Right.
We'll get to that.
Anyway,
season 2.
We almost had our finale. Instead of being the culties, it was going to be a discussion of whether or not capitalism is a cult. But then we realized we have far more topics to cover in season 2 before we can answer that question thoroughly. So stay tuned.
Yay, more business stuff. Okay, I think it's on to next topic.
Yep.
Yeah, our next category.
Next
culty. So far, we have said which cult would I most and least like to join.
Right.
Which charismatic leader I would most and least like to have dinner with. What was the hardest topic to research or to do? So my next category is which cult story is the most screenplay adaptable?
Oh, jeez. It's probably Mary Kay. Because I can easily see... Sense. Like, I don't know how there isn't a Mary Kay movie where it's like Jennifer Lawrence stars as like Mary Kay trying to start her business. How is that not a Christmas release blockbuster film with
maybe it is
a pretty young blonde actress ingenue being Mary Kay?
Or like, why didn't Dolly Parton play this role already?
Because Dolly Parton doesn't need to. Dolly Parton's better than Mary Kay. Sorry.
Okay, but she would be perfect for the role.
Yeah, well...
A lot of actors are better than the people they play. Like,
I'm just saying, you cannot drag down Dolly Parton even an iota. She's a stellar queen. She's a goddess.
How am I dragging her down by saying she would be good to play a like top 10 American business person?
Mary Kay. She's too good for it.
She'd be great for this role. You shut up. Oh, all right. Never mind. What about 2002 drama comedy Hell on Heels, The Battle of Mary Kay?
No.
And also, why haven't we seen this? One woman's courage to dream, making millions like her successful. Starring Parker Posey and Shirley MacLaine.
Okay, actually, that sounds great.
And Shannon Doherty.
What? Those are real people.
So I guess there is a movie. So literally that is the most screenplay adaptable since it's already been done.
Oh, I want Kirsten Dunst to do it. I want Kirsten Dunst to be Mary Kay.
Well, you just want that because of On Becoming a God in Central Florida.
So I think that in terms of like what I could see Hollywood actually making a movie about, Mary Kay.
Yeah,
what I would want to see a movie be made about, it might be Teal.
Interesting.
Could also be Irvine.
I don't know. I don't want Teal to be...
I'm saying in terms of
have
like...
a movie made about her.
No, I don't want Teal to have a movie made about her, but a movie inspired by her fucked up, insane stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be really
what, all right, so pick one then, because you got to pick one.
It's Mary Kay.
Mary Kay?
For me.
Okay. You know, I'm going to go back to John Frum on this one.
That's a good one.
And I think it would make like a cool sort of like magical realism thing where there was, you know, like a World War II soldier that actually had some magic powers, but then also utilized real historical situations and really did the things that the cult of John Frum says that he did, like,
so it's
you know,
like
helping,
Forrest Gump,
sort of, but almost more magical even.
Magic Forrest Gump.
We're sort of, it's like the age of magical realism now anyway, right? Isn't that like, it's like pretty freaking popular right now?
Is it?
I don't know. It seems like it.
Okay, I believe you.
Cool. Anyway, I think that would be a cool story. If anybody wants to talk to me about optioning a script, I am available. So just let me know.
No, I'm sure they'll go to you and not like somebody who's like written a book about John Frum.
Right. Or
somebody who like lives in a place where they're
have done a podcast about John Frum.
Belief.
Whatever, man.
I'm sure they'll go straight to you.
I'm just saying, I am the expert here.
All right.
So that's my answer for most screenplay adaptable. I would like to see a movie about that.
Okay. You ready for your next topic?
I am ready. Ready as I'll ever be.
Topic you've changed your opinion most about. Are there any? Here are the ones that I've changed my opinion on a bit. Star Citizen.
Okay. Wait, so was your initial opinion about Star Citizen that it was like freaking terrible or
No, like I was super blown away by it.
Oh, yeah.
And just since then I've realized that like what they're trying to do, they're not the only people trying to do it and or achieving it.
Right.
There's a lot of really cool things happening in video games, and maybe I was a little too enthusiastic about it.
Oh, so you've changed your
I'm less impressed by it now.
I thought you were saying you changed the other way.
No,
because I feel like then it's a bit of a roller coaster, because I think we started out by being a little like, whoa, that's crazy. That's so much money. All those people have been false promises. Oh, crazy.
I know, but my opinion on the actual gameplay was like, holy shit, yeah.
Right, but then we saw the gameplay and we were like, oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And now you're saying you're less impressed.
Yes.
Is that because you've played some games that have made you go like, meh?
Less that and more just being able to go online and read a little bit more about Star Citizen myself, and, you know, being on the Star Citizen Reddit and just hearing people be like, okay, yeah, it's cool, but also like these games are doing that too, and like I can't give any like specifics right now, but just kind of learning that what Star Citizen is trying to do while the scope is singular. Like I think they're the only ones trying to be a game that's literally everything. The things that I was very much impressed by, like the non-loading screens and the fidelity, that's not as unique to them as I think I thought.
So yours is Star Citizen?
I'm saying that's one of my options.
That's one of them.
So the ones that I have definitely changed my opinion about is that one. Loving Hut, I think I have a little bit of a different opinion on now, maybe. And Tulpas. Again,
now, is this after having done it? Because you said it was a cult, seemed bad, and you're saying now you're...
This is the topic you've changed your opinion most about since the episode was published.
Since the episode. Yeah. Got it.
Since the episode was published.
Because I was going to say Tulpas. Because before you did Tulpas, I was like... that's people just giving themselves the crazies.
Right.
It's just whatever. But after having done the episode, obviously now it seems a lot healthier.
Right.
It seems a lot like, for at least, obviously, there were some cases where it seemed like the Tulpamancers weren't as pleased with it, but for the most part, it seemed like it was something either neutral to beneficial.
Right.
And certainly like having an imaginary friend, like you made a strong case for that. But since this is since
Since the episode.
Not during the episode. That may change my answer. So you're saying, Star Citizen. What changed your... What have you learned since we did our episode about Supreme Master Ching Hai?
I think I've just had more time to think about the ethics of going and eating at a Loving Hut, and I think that when we ended the episode, I was still like, I don't know. And I think
we were saying we shouldn't go.
Were we? I thought I was kind of on the edge.
No, we were like, maybe it's not a good idea.
Oh, because then I guess my opinion didn't change. I think my opinion now is actually it's unethical.
Yeah.
And also that doesn't mean I'm never going to eat there again.
Yeah, they had really good food.
I do lots of unethical stuff. I try to limit the amount of unethical things I do, and then also I think the reality of being a human being in the world is you are going to do unethical things sometimes. You're
on the verge. Just say it. Just say capitalism. Just say it.
Well, I mean, there's no ethical consumerism under capitalism.
Okay, thank you. I knew you had it under the surface there, just barely. What is it about Loving Hut since then that's made you veer slightly more towards it's not ethical? Anything specific or?
No, I think just being honest with myself.
Right.
I think just
plus there's
having
other
some
good
distance from how
honestly
having some distance from how good the restaurant experience was and being like, okay, but there's lots of great restaurant experiences and
great vegetarian restaurant experiences, like especially in LA.
Right. I don't need to go to Loving Hut.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And then the third one was?
I think for tulpas, I think something that I'm maybe a little bit guilty of in that episode is not incorporating. I think that the episode, while I definitely stand by it and I still believe everything that I said in the episode, I think that the episode's a little biased in that I didn't do enough work on presenting the possible negative aspects of it and how I do think that there are people in the community that are dealing with severe mental illness or just even mental illness at all and are not receiving the help that they deserve, and partly because of their involvement with the tulpas community. So I think that it's less that my opinion has changed because I still believe everything that I truly do stand by the episode, and I'm not denying any experience of anyone that talked to me. And also just since then, I do wonder if I could have done more work to present a more balanced version of it.
Yeah. I think it's hard too with something like that where it can be such a fine gray line between something that is just natural variation and something that is potentially pathological, something that is harm causing to the individual. It's sometimes can actually be really hard to draw that line. I mean, even with something like alcoholism, which seems like really easy to draw that line, like sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, is that person just drinking, or is it actually affecting their work? Is it affecting their relationships? Like even that is sometimes difficult to draw. So certainly with something like tulpas where it's imaginary friends, do you have of those three, do you have one that you've changed your opinion on?
I think I'd give the culty goes to Star Citizen.
Okay.
I think I was a little too blown away by
Come on, man. Like you walked in the station and you got on the ship and you could have like 4 people manning the guns, and you could have a navigator and a co-pilot. Yeah,
but there was no game. Like it was just
it
was some pretty art. It was some pretty art.
There's no game in Pokemon Go, and that's a game.
That's very different than Star Citizen.
I don't know. I've had this argument with a lot of people. I think they're wrong and dumb.
Literally, Star Citizen is not a game.
Okay, here we go now, because I've had this argument with people that say Pokemon Go is not a game.
Okay, that's fine.
I believe that games can be experiential, and Star Citizen right now is a very singular experience playing the game.
It's not a game, though, because they haven't they'll say that there's no game. The people who make Star Citizen will say there's no game.
They say it's incomplete and it's coming out in phases.
Yes. So there's no game.
No, I've seen it be played.
Okay.
I sat there and watched.
Fine. It's still
my interviewee.
I've changed my opinion about it.
Play. Okay. Well, I appreciate that you give that the culty. Disagree that it's not a game.
Got it.
Boy. So this is okay. So if I had to change my opinion, let me think. Okay, so it's probably creativity, because since I've done that, I've realized that, that the mud race.
This isn't going anywhere.
Come on.
So you're wasting our time.
Please.
No.
Patreon at least.
Maybe.
Actually, I'm editing this one. I can put whatever the fuck I want in here. Okay, now let me think about it.
I also think Best Friends is actually definitely a contender here, because I think that we started off being like, oh, it's a cult, and kind of taking a very like cult brush at it, and now it's like such child's play compared to some of the things that we've talked about.
Yeah, I was thinking about Best Friends for that reason.
And like, because what they are now is they're doing unequivocal good.
Yeah, for sure. Best Friends is on the list for me. I keep going back and forth on Mary Kay. Some days I'm like, oh, it's fine. But then some days I'm like, I don't even know if we should have presented it as possibly okay in some circumstances.
Right.
You know, we gave a pretty like balanced opinion in that episode. Or not. So, like I said, some days I'm like, that was good that we did that. And then some days I'm like, I don't know.
Right. Especially when you like listen to the dream and you hear about like,
I know,
or you listen to something about Nexium and you just hear about the way MLMs are today. It's just like, ugh.
And like maybe Mary Kay isn't as bad as the worst of them, but like, it's part of the industry,
right?
And they're not necessarily like,
but again,
to be against that.
No ethical consumerism.
Right. All right. Yeah. My opinion hasn't really changed on people like Ramtha or Teal. I think it has to be Best Friends. Like, honestly, my opinion hasn't changed a lot on a lot of these things appreciably, but maybe it's Best Friends just from the contrast.
Right.
But by the same token, like at the very end of that episode, we said like, would you go volunteer again? And we were like, oh yeah.
Right.
Of course. True. So I mean, that's still the case. I would still totally go back and volunteer.
Right.
And actually now I'd probably like pry a little bit more instead of being
oh my God.
Yeah, like, because the founders like to talk to you at lunch. I actually just spoke with somebody that volunteered at Best Friends a couple days last month, and she said this. I asked her, I was like, did you have lunch there?
Oh my God.
And were the founders there? And she was like, oh my God, yeah. But she knew. I forget whether she
like listened to the episode or
no. Yeah. I know we're pretty big. No, I forget whether she had researched ahead of time or whether it was afterwards, but she knew the deal. She knew like where they came from.
Gotcha.
So, but they're still there at lunch saying, hi, I'm one of the founders. But I think, I was going to say if, but I think it's more of a when, because I definitely want to go back.
Right.
When we go back, I'm definitely going to go to lunch, find one of them, and ask them if I can sit with them.
Right.
And be like, hey, what can you tell me about this place? Also, I'm recording you.
Well, you may have to do a little bit more work to be able to record somebody than that. But I get what you're saying.
I think all you have to do is say, also, I'm recording you.
So is it Best Friends that you're giving the culty to here?
Yeah, it's Best Friends. I give the culty to Best Friends, but it's pretty close because most of these folks, most of these topics, I feel like I haven't changed my opinion on a whole lot.
All right. Back to you.
I'm going to say this one. And we don't have to do it because I don't know if we'll have a good answer for it.
Oh, my God.
Best Jurassic Park reference on the show.
Shit, I don't know. All of them.
The problem is we don't have... Oh, I know. We don't actually have a clips list.
I know which one it is. It was from MT Jafar. Okay. And when I went dinosaurs... it was probably, honestly, that... I don't know all of our Jurassic Park references, all of my Jurassic Park references.
There's so many.
But the MT Jafar Jurassic Park reference is probably the most actually relevant because there is so much about genetics in
That's
that
true,
movie.
Actually. The whole episode is the answer to that one.
Yeah. So I think it's probably that one. Yeah.
I mean, I got to be honest. Like I had this.
That was your joke one.
My category it was a joke one, and I was like, am I going to go back and listen through all like 50 hours of our content and try to find all the Jurassic Park references for this? No, I don't think so.
It's fine.
You know what? This one is an audience question. Hey, audience.
What do you think?
What's your favorite Jurassic Park reference we've done in the show? I guess I can move on to an actual one. Let me think of these two. Which would be this one's a good follow-up to like changed opinion and also like hardest. So what was your favorite topic to research? Like what was the one that you had your most like oohs and ahs and was most interesting or whatever?
I have loved all of my topics. Mm-hmm. All of the topics.
I think I know what you're going to say on this one.
Just literally all of my topics though I've been so lucky that I picked such cool topics. Everything was like a really interesting can of worms. Everything was an interesting ball of yarn. Like from best friends all the way to Spirit Halloween in like completely different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be between 3301 and Tulpas. Like,
I was going to say you would say 3301.
3301 is fantastic to research. I'd also already done all of that research already.
Right.
So it was less, like, it was less about discovering something. Like, I didn't have a process of discovery for that one. It was more taking stuff that I already knew about and, like, figuring out how to communicate it. Whereas with Tulpas, I was on such a journey of discovery and getting to connect directly with individuals in that community was very, very special. So I think that while I think my favorite topic is 3301, like I could literally talk about Cicada 3301 for 150,000 years. I think literally.
Wow.
I think in terms of like what was my favorite to research, even though it was really difficult, I think it was Tulpas. I think it was the Tulpas.
I think that, that makes sense. I would have thought you would have said 3301 or Tulpas, so that makes sense. Especially like the journey of discovery and connecting with actual folks.
Right.
You know, for me, it's tough because I actually had a really interesting time with a few of them. It's between John Frum and Mary Kay, I think, for me.
That's interesting that John Frum would even be on the same like level as Mary Kay.
Well, just because it was like I didn't, in terms of like the level of discovery, right? In terms of the like, I knew what cargo cults were. I had no idea that this thing called John Frum existed. I had no idea that cargo cults, as we sort of have them in popular cultural knowledge, is not really what they are.
Right.
So, like, learning that was a good little brain tickle. You know, it was like, whoa, neat. I had no idea. In the case of MLMs, there was some of that discovery element. Like, I knew they were weird, but I didn't know, like, how crazy it got.
Right.
And certainly, like, listening to The Dream was, like, a great experience. Discovering just how crazy the world of MLMs is during that research. And then also speaking with Mrs. Carlson and Ms. Conan was a really cool experience, too. Getting their, like, you know, firsthand take on a topic that we're doing on our show was really cool. I think in terms of pure volume of interestingness, it's got to go to MLMs and Mary Kay.
Yeah.
Because the John Frum thing was like a couple of fun little tickles, but it was like a smaller topic.
Sure.
In terms of the amount of research, MLMs and Mary Kay was a long, involved process. So I think I got to give the culty to favorite research, Mary Kay.
Solid.
What is our next category?
Okay.
Okay.
So my next topic then is, of the topics we have covered this year, which topic would you say is the most woo? And before we get into this, should we go ahead and define woo for our audience? Because we've used that word a lot.
Oh, yeah. And not everybody knows what that means. Sorry.
So let's go
Sorry,
ahead.
audience that
Woo.
doesn't know. No.
Woo.
Are you reading from Urban Dictionary right now?
Means seek the favor, support, or custom of, or try to gain the love of someone, especially with a view to marriage.
Right. It's like Romeo and Juliet. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Woo. Woo comes from the word...
That was a joke, everyone.
Yes. Well, that's probably... Woo comes from woo-woo. Like, that's where I first heard the term woo, was like woo-woo.
Yeah.
And according to Rational Wiki, which is part of my trust network... Woo is a term for pseudoscientific explanations that share certain common characteristics, often being too good to be true, aside from being unscientific. The term is common among skeptical writers. Woo is understood specifically as dressing itself in the trappings of science, but not the substance, while involving unscientific concepts, such as anecdotal evidence and sciencey sounding words. So woo is like... The wooey topics we've done are... Ramtha.
It's New Age. It's to me, it's almost synonymous with
Loving
New Age.
Hut. Yeah, it's New Age bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, woo is homeopathy. Woo is naturopathy. Woo is claiming that chiropractics can fix your teeth situations.
Yeah. This is a tough one. I guess they've all been tough. But it's between Jay-Z and Teal. Ben Lynch was, he was a naturopath and peddling pseudoscience for money.
Right.
So that was woo. But, like, Teal and Jay-Z are like maximum woo. I mean, they are just through. They take woo to 11. I mean, they are way off the scale.
What about Best Friends?
No, Best Friends. No, they weren't woo. Best Friends was like religious.
What about MLMs and the airplane game and New Thought?
Yeah, I mean, it creeps in everywhere, but not to the degree that it does with those two women.
I love that we haven't even talked about tulpas because like we're both so of the belief that tulpas are not woo. And tulpas aren't. They're not.
Yes and no, though.
They're not woo in the same way that like Teal and Jay-Z are.
I think that for some tulpamancers, though, they probably are.
Yeah.
For some tulpamancers, it's probably a sense of, there's a real magical being living in the physical space in my room.
But that seemed to be so like not the forefront of the community.
Yeah, you're right. That did seem to be less common, which was, I think, part of what drew me to the topic and made me kind of go like, oh, that's not as weird and crazy as it sounded like initially.
I thought, yeah.
Yeah. It's, adult interviewing the kid and the kid going like, the imaginary friend isn't real, right?
Right.
Like it's that, right? It's like I felt that like most tulpamancers understand that the tulpas are real, just not physical.
Right. Well, it's like literally when we looked at the all the data that they have, like all of the census, and I think it was like the vast majority of people believed that there was like a neurological reason for this, that it's not magic, that it's something else going on. Right.
So I'm going to give this to Teal.
More so than Ramtha.
I think Teal.
More so than the 30,000-year-old Lemurian knight or whatever.
They're both way up there. Both of their belief systems are extremely prototypical epitome of New Age type thought.
Right.
Honestly, it's basically a tie. There's. I
think you can give.
I'm going to give it to Teal, but like
you give it to Teal because I'm giving it to Ramtha. So
okay,
it's perfect. So they both get it.
So let's explain why you say Ramtha and I say Teal. I think I say Teal. It feels like she dips into slightly more things than Jay-Z, like the Akashic Records and spirit healing and auras. And I know Jay-Z says,
like literally
she's a channeler.
Bastardized quantum physics.
I know. I'm not saying that and that's certainly a woo thing. I'm not saying that's not good.
Teal Swan's famous, but she's not getting invited on the Tonight Show. No, Johnny Carson's not talking to Teal. No, she's not.
I mean, she's like got a bajillion followers or whatever now, though, right?
She's not on.
She's a podcast about her.
She's not, but about how she's not good. Not like. Literally, Jay-Z Knight used to go on the Tonight Show and go on these late night talk shows to be like, look how cool this person is. Right. Isn't this interesting? Not the podcast being like, Teal Swan's dangerous.
Fair. It's like I said, it really could go either way, right. Like because they're very similar. I don't know. Yeah, I think the Akashic Records and also the recovered memories thing.
Right.
The fact that she has all of these false recovered memories about being sewn inside corpses. I don't know.
Jay-Z Knight says that she's a 35,000-year-old Atlantean warrior.
Okay, first of all, oh my God.
Okay, Jay-Z Knight says that she's Ramtha. And it's
Lemurian, not Atlantean.
I think he was Atlantean.
They were at war with the Atlanteans, Kayla.
I'm looking this up.
Yeah, look it up.
I just want to make sure. I don't not believe you. I just want to...
How do you not know the geopolitics of fake places?
Oh, God, Jay-Z Knight was on Larry King. Yeah, she appeared on U.S. TV shows such as Larry King, MSNBC, The Merv Griffin Show, and also in Psychology Today. Yeah, he did fight the Atlanteans, but it was 35,000 years ago, not 30,000.
Okay, so fine. I was only off by a very tiny amount, 5,000 years. But yes, they were fighting the Atlanteans because they had to go to war, probably over some magical disagreement. The aliens maybe made them do it. I don't know. Are we giving the culties to, you're giving it to Jay-Z, I'm giving it to Teal?
Yes.
For this one?
Yes. Yeah. Jay-Z Knight is the wooiest of woo.
It's Teal's the wooiest of woo, but they're both at the pinnacle of woo.
Yeah, they're both slightly different flavors.
Yeah, very slightly. One's like mint chocolate chip and one's like chocolate chip mint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your turn.
All right, I got another category here, and then you'll do one more, and then we'll get on to the finale.
Sounds good.
So here is my penultimate topic. Who is the most business savvy out of our cults and charismatic leaders and whoever.
All right. So I think here we're talking about some topics doesn't make sense. Tulpas, creativity, 3301, cargo cults, those don't fit here.
I don't know. I mean, the cargo cults are getting free stuff, man.
I don't know if it's
stuff from the cargo.
I think, so then if we're looking at Best Friends, Ramtha, Donald Bren / Irvine, Star Citizen Guy, Teal, Mary Kay, Supreme Master Ching Hai, The Woodman, Spirit Halloween, and Ben Lynch.
Yeah.
That is tough. That is very tough.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say,
it's a really hard call.
I think that it's Joe Marver in Spirit Halloween, because all of these people didn't invent like a new style of business except for Mary Kay, and even then she didn't really invent it.
Right, but I mean, I think you can say that even for Joseph Marver, right?
Joe Marver invented Halloween pop-ups. Joe Marver invented the concept of Halloween pop-ups.
And you're saying that she didn't quite invent the multi-level marketing style. She, like, the Tupperware had already done the in-home parties but incredible
business savvy. Mm-hmm. But then the same thing goes for, like, well, obviously Donald Bren maybe he has better business savvy.
I mean, he is the richest person on here.
It's him. It's Donald Bren.
He owns, like, all of the things.
Most business savvy is Donald Bren. Like it's Donald Bren. The end. Ben Lynch obviously is very business savvy, and he's business savvy in the way that like Teal and Jay-Z Knight are business savvy.
Right, but Teal, like, here's the thing about Teal though, is that Teal is like, of all the people that we just listed, she's the one that I think is the most like tech business savvy.
Oh, for sure.
Because she's the one, like I said, she's working the algos, right? She's
incredibly business savvy.
She knows how to get search engine optimized for getting eyeballs onto her content. She knows what her niche is.
Yeah.
She plays to that. She's become she's grown her following. I mean, you remember when we were talking about her like 5 years ago and it was nothing.
Right.
And now she has this like gigantic empire.
I'm saying Donald Bren.
You're saying Bren?
Yeah.
Just because of the results?
I think for me, it goes
a cajillion dollars.
I think it's Bren, Joe Marver, Teal. Wait, no. I think it's Bren, Joe Marver. Nope. I think it's Bren.
One more try.
Mary Kay, Joe Marver, Teal, Ramtha, Ben Lynch. Yeah. And then I didn't even put number 4, Star Citizen, who maybe it's him because
he's raised the most money of anyone
for
ever.
Nothing, and he started like 100,000 different companies. Like he has had the most illustrious business career without really necessarily having that much output.
Yeah, so for me, I think, again, you can make a strong case for pretty much anyone on the list here. But I got to go Bren as well, just for the results. Like, right. He has just an ungodly amount of money. What was it, like $3 billion or something? How much money is he worth? Donald
Leroy Bren is in the year of our Lord, 2019. His net worth is $17 billion.
$17 billion.
That's a lot of dollars.
That's many billions.
Yeah.
I think even if you had $1 billion, you'd be able to, like, kind of get by.
Yeah.
But, like, 17...
Yeah. $17 billion. Yeah.
It's like, just, oh, fuck. All right. So I think that pretty clearly puts him in first place.
Yeah.
But I'll also say that some of the things that you said specifically, like... Because, somebody might become a 17 billionaire because they, got a big old chunk of cash from their daddy. And
right.
Then,
you can be gifted billions of dollars.
Right. But from him, it sounded like he kind of started from nothing, more or less. Like, not nothing, but like he didn't start with $1 million loan.
From, billions.
Yeah, he started by just like being good at real estate. Right. And then that bit where you said he engineered the takeover of the company and then like sold off a bit and then bought it back later. Or was it he bought it and then he sold it? Either way, it was like for some absurd differential of multi-millions of dollars, he bought back the exact same thing that he had sold.
Maybe Donald Bren is the most screenplay adaptable. Like you do like the founder, take up the founder kind of treatment to it.
Yeah. Yeah,
but he's the savviest businessman.
Yeah,
business person.
Yeah, but it's pretty telling that there are so many very savvy business people that we've covered.
Of the topics that we've covered, we have 14 topics again, and in this conversation, it's Best Friends, Ramtha, Irvine, Star Citizen, Teal Swan, Mary Kay, Loving Hut, Woodman, Spirit Halloween, and Empty Jafar.
Yeah, like...
So 10 out of 14.
Extremely business savvy, not just sort of.
Yeah.
That's something I feel like we need to unpack a little bit at some point.
I wonder if it's because capitalism might be a cult.
Oh, God. All right. Yeah. Fair. You win.
I'm just... The signs continuously point to yes. I don't know what you want from me.
Maybe there's some motivated reasoning here,
There is
Kayla.
1,000% motivated reasoning, and I will admit it.
But yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. So Donald Brent across the board.
17 billion.
Yep.
I guess you can have a logo that's weird if you have that much money.
Yep.
All right, one more category from Thou.
Yes. I like mine.
And what is your last category before we move on to the finale?
What's our most wholesome topic?
Oh my God.
What's the most wholesome thing we've talked about?
Best friends, because doggos.
Tulpas, because of friends, because of making friends.
Yeah.
Okay, literally everybody
your answer?
listening, the Reply All episode about tulpas is called Making Friends, and it's just such a good title.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're making
friends.
A friend.
But also, like, Spirit Halloween is pretty wholesome with their, like, Spirit of Children.
Oh, yeah, they have the charity. Yep.
So they have a charity arm similar to, like,
that
My
was
Best
pretty
Friends
goddamn
does.
wholesome, yeah.
I mean, Cargo Cults is pretty wholesome.
Yeah.
3301's not unwholesome.
331's mostly wholesome.
Pretty wholesome. It's people helping each other solve puzzles on the internet and, like...
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of wholesome
Creativity
topics.
had the thing with the kids.
Don't.
You know what? If I had to do a damn topic on creativity, if I had to go to that website and I had to do that research, then by God, I have earned these jokes. I can make as many jokes about creativity as I want to make on this show. Ha ha. White supremacists. Ha ha ha.
Okay. Woodman, I think, is also a pretty wholesome topic.
I was actually going to say they were surprisingly wholesome.
Yeah.
Despite the like sort of sexism that comes with the whatever in the 1800s, but they had a lot of stuff where they were like helping people out, helping people accept help from a community and accept insurance when that was still a little bit or maybe a lot bit taboo because of rugged individualism and whatnot.
Right.
That's pretty wholesome. I mean, they helped people like carry on when their loved ones passed away.
Right.
They're still doing that.
Well, then they're like, we do pranks on each other.
I know.
So
they're
cute.
like, we ride a goat and make farting noises. Do you want some insurance? Yeah, that's fair. What's your final answer? Who gets the culty?
It's between Best Friends and Tulpas.
Okay.
And I think it's Best Friends.
Best Friends, really?
Yeah.
Because see, when I said
I guess the topic isn't wholesome because the topic was about the religion. The religion
that's
wasn't
the thing. Like if
wholesome.
It's just best friends, A, it's not a cult.
Right.
And B, it's clearly the most wholesome because you're going and rescuing animals.
It's tulpas. Then it's tulpas.
Yeah, that's why because I said best friends at first, but then same thing for me. I was like, oh, actually.
Spirit Halloween's for sure up there.
Yeah.
It's just, I think anything that like gets real business related gets, takes some wholesome points away from it a little bit. Not necessarily, like, a little bit.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But Spirit of Children obviously isn't incredibly wholesome, but that's only part of the topic, whereas tulpas as a whole, I just think that I will always be a sucker for people finding community in nice ways because
of course.
I love the internet. The internet has done some incredible work in like bringing people together, and then also unfortunately people are able to find community in destructive ways on the internet. Like there's a lot of people, finding community
like that website,
like
that I looked
creativity,
at for creativity.
And like, incels subreddit and, alt-right. Like there's lots of ways for finding community on the internet to be such an intense negative that I love when people who are lonely are able to find community with each other on the internet in like constructive, positive ways. And Tulpas feels overwhelmingly positive and constructive.
You make a strong case. Tulpas is close for me. I think I'm going to go though with John Frum, which I'm not it's not quite wholesome. It's more uplifting.
Wholesome. It's more I guess. Yeah.
Because like wholesome is like saccharine almost, right? It's like
Sweet.
It's like it's pure.
Yeah.
Throwing off the yoke of colonialism is it's not a pure story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of.
It's more like
I'm kind of jamming a round peg into a square hole here, but like
it's more like intense than wholesome. Like it's more like positively intense,
and it's aspirational too.
Yeah,
like for an American, like we named the episode "The Americans," because it was, not only was it about maybe an American GI, but it was also about these folks that identified with the best aspects of the American experiment and ideal.
Right. And there's been so much negative around that it's nice to have a place where it's like very positive.
Totally. So that part of it, I think, feels wholesome. Like I said, throwing off the yoke of colonialism is not exactly like wholesome. It's more
badass and fucking cool.
Inspiring. Yeah. There's maybe it's just because I'm a boy. Wholesomeness means like, yeah, righteous violence. Fuck yeah. But I get, they also weren't like, as I recall, they weren't like violent in the way they did it. They were able to ideologically resist and utilize this shared community, this shared like spiritual, cultural thing to galvanize their community to become independent.
Right.
So that's my answer for wholesome.
There you go.
Culty goes to John Frum on the people of Tana.
And Tulpas.
And Tulpas for you. Is John Frum a tulpa?
Shit. Yeah. Kind of. I mean, he's a tulpa in the same way that like is like Jesus a tulpa, is God a tulpa, totally. Is any sort of mythological and or religious figure a tulpa.
Is Donald Bren, who we have never seen in real life and stays super secretive, a tulpa?
No, because one of my best friends went to a party at his friend's house and she's Donald Bren's niece and Donald Bren was there.
Or
so he's seen him.
Was he just hallucinating a tulpa?
He just forced the tulpa.
Yeah. Are all of the NPCs in Star Citizen tulpas? Is the entire season of Culture Just Weird about tulpas?
Are we tulpas?
Yes. Well, didn't we talk about that? We're totally like, I am a tulpa of my brains. Like we construct our identities.
Yep.
We have different identities. We have a different identity this morning than I did yesterday.
We are all tulpas.
We kind of all are tulpas.
Yeah. All
right. So that brings us to the final question.
Final question.
So, the equivalent of Best Picture, the cultiest cult and the weirdest weird. The culty goes to La La Land. Sorry. Moonlight.
La La Land is the cult there. And Moonlight's the weird. Or the other way around. I don't know. Cultiest cult and weirdiest weird.
Yes.
It's hard, man. I think that weirdiest weird, it goes to Tulpas again.
Tulpas?
I think Tulpas is the weirdest weird.
Tulpas is... Apologies if any Tulpas are listening to this right now. It's hella weird.
Yeah.
It's hella weird.
We've talked about it many times on the podcast.
Exactly.
Weird is good.
Weird in our opinion. I guess weird can be bad.
But it doesn't have to be bad.
But it definitely can be good. And I think in this case, it is good. I think, in a lot of cases, it's good. In a lot of cases, weird is interesting. It's different. Right. It's variety. It's, I don't know. It's something foreign to my experience, which I like.
And then for cultiest cult.
Why tulpas? Why are they the weirdest weird? Because there's some other weird stuff. What about teal, dude?
Yeah, teal's weird, but teal's a cult.
Okay.
Tulpas wasn't a cult.
Okay, fair.
It's a just weird.
That's fair.
And it's people creating sentient consciousnesses.
Autonomous.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even if it's real, even if it's not, even if it's whatever. Brain. Like it's the weirdest weird. And as far as cultiest cult. I want to say MLMs. Am I allowed to say MLMs?
Why wouldn't you be?
Because the topic was Mary Kay.
Oh, I see.
But we did also do like MLM as a topic.
I think you have to say Mary Kay.
I think MLMs are the cultiest cults. But then if it's...
We didn't do a judgment for MLMs. We just did a judgment for Mary Kay.
So then I don't think it's Mary Kay. I think then it goes back to my old pal Teal.
Teal, not Jay-Z.
I think partly because she's more relevant right now.
Right.
She's more relevant. She's more up and coming. She's more able to like utilize the internet. Like Ramtha's fucking using DVDs of a movie Teal's got YouTube vids.
Right. Teal is like the tech-savvy, like, millennial to Ramtha's, I don't know how to use my phone, okay, boomer.
But, like, we should also be clear that, like,
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
We also talked about somebody who has dispersed a chain of restaurants throughout the world that that showcases her 24/7 television station. That's pretty So, like, there's a lot of culty cults here, but I think given the fact now that Teal has, like, a compound in Costa Rica where people go and just work there for her, and, like, I think it's Teal. I think Teal gets the cultiest cult for this season, for me.
I'm going to say something weird here. Strange. Whatever. And maybe this is actually kind of tying it back to why we started the podcast in the first place, or how we started it. I'm going to give cultiest cults to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary.
I think that's
and I'm going to give Weirdiest Weird to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary.
Damn.
Because that's why we started this, right? Is because we saw this thing that we were like, what is going on here?
Right.
We looked into it and we said, wow, there were a lot of bugs under that rock.
Right.
When we turned that over. And so, I kind of have to give it to both. Because, like, if you look at the entity that became Best Friends, if you look at the Process Church of the Millennium.
Right. Process Church of the
Final Judgment, excuse me. And then what was it? Something
There
Church
was a Millennium.
There was something Millennium, whatever. Something very culty.
I think there was Process Church, whatever.
If you ignore Best Friends, I think that even beats Teal. As culty as Teal is, and as she has a compound, and she's super woo, and she says things that are, like, absurd and false.
Right,
with
but
Akashic
Teal
Records.
was also not kicked out of Scientology by L. Ron Hubbard himself.
And, like, maybe is friends with Charles Manson or whatever, and, like, had a compound. They also had a compound in, was it Central America or South America?
I think they were in Mexico.
Mexico, okay. So they had a compound south of here. They had that was some crazy shit.
Yeah, no, they were a straight up cult. Yeah,
they worshipped, like, it was God, Jesus, devil, and
Satan. Yeah. And they were
what the fuck?
They were is it millenniarism? They were people who were like, the end of the world is happening.
Well, that's why it was called process. I think we've actually were even, like, mispronouncing it. It's probably like process, right? Because
no, that's not the part that's.
They are pro-cessation of reality.
No, it's the millennial part that's referencing that. From what I remember in my research.
I thought it was process. You said process meant, like, pro-cessation.
Did I?
You did. Yeah.
Oh, then never mind.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
So I think that Best Friends is the cultiest cult, and thanks to all the same things I just said, also the weirdest weird.
Right.
They really straddle that line.
Because they were all of that, and now they became an animal sanctuary.
Right, that we have volunteered at, and it's very wholesome, very nice.
Such a 180. It's like, first we were a cult that worshipped God and the devil, and then we were an animal sanctuary.
And also, we're cool with Charles Manson. Anyway, now we like dogs. Yeah, so I'm going to give it to Best Friends on both counts. Yeah. Congratulations, Best Friends. For me, you have stood the test of time. Mm-hmm. And here at the end of our first season, you're still the winner.
You're still the winner.
You're still number one in my heart, Best Friends.
You're number one, Best Friends. And we can't wait to come and visit you again soon.
Absolutely. Recently took a trip to Zion in Utah. And Zion's very close to Kanab. And it made me kind of go like, oh, man. I miss Kanab. I can just go pet some dogs, and I can just go hang out at the cult restaurant and talk to some founders and pet a cat and feed a hog.
That's all true.
That's the things that we did that led to this podcast. So
thanks, Best Friends. We're here because of you.
Right. So
truly.
So the first thank you, I guess, goes to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary and Robert DeGrimston and
Marianne McLean
and
that's actually
Michael Mountain, who is their current charismatic leader.
I'm going to issue a correction from our first episode.
Ooh.
I called her Marianne McLean through the whole first episode, and I have been informed by a friend of the podcast that the proper Scottish pronunciation of her name it's Marianne McLean.
Ah, gotcha.
So there you go.
Oh, I also want to issue it's not as much of a correction as much as of a clarification. So last episode we were talking about Nobel Prize winners that later turned into freaks, and James Watson was one of those. And we said, co-discoverer of the DNA double helix, which, while sort of true,
it was a woman.
It was actually So I will read the Wikipedia article about this.
Hardcore question. Because I learned this recently too.
So I was
Where did we learn this?
Well, so it was, I believe we both learned it from the person who we are friends with, that the sister, I interviewed the sister.
No, I learned it on a YouTube video.
Oh, okay. Because I was talking to one Mr. Sweeney about this, and I mentioned the James Watson thing, and he was like, oh yeah, did Alex because that's like one of the things that Alex loves to rant about, is that like Watson and Crick didn't actually discover it.
No, it was a woman.
And I was like, oh no, I didn't know that. I actually independently put a note about James Watson in the show.
So crazy.
And I never actually talked to Alex about it. So anyway, point is, the name of the woman is Rosalind Franklin. Franklin is best known for her work on the X-ray diffraction images of DNA. So that's basically like, you have to do special techniques to take photographs at that scale.
Right.
And X-ray diffraction is basically a photographic technique for molecules.
Cool.
Anyway, best known for her work on X-ray diffraction images of DNA, particularly Photo 51.
Ooh.
While at King's College, London, which led to the discovery of the DNA double helix, for which James Watson, Francis Crick, and Maurice Wilkins shared the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1962. Her name was not on that list, if you heard me say it correctly.
Yeah, why isn't her name on the list?
Because she didn't get the Nobel Prize for it.
Well,
they
should have. Yeah. What was her name again?
Rosalind Franklin.
Thank you, Rosalind Franklin.
Yeah. So not only was James Watson later become like a raging racist, he didn't even really discover DNA. So anyway.
Okay.
Thanks, Ms. Franklin.
Who else?
So slight adjustment to that.
Any other corrections we need to make? Any other
Probably
thank
a million.
yous we need to do?
We need to, well, definitely. So corrections, I can't even begin to say, because there's probably so many. I don't know. Nothing that I have specifically come across that I need to correct, but I absolutely will whenever I do. That's my promise.
That's a good promise.
But thank yous, yeah. I mean, so certainly thank you to Best Friends.
Thank you to Best Friends.
We really enjoyed volunteering there back in 2016. It was a great time. It was beautiful, and it inspired this podcast. Thank you, obviously.
And they do incredible work.
They do. They absolutely do.
Thank you for saving all of the doggies and kitties and piggies and horsies.
Yeah, especially the cats that shit all over the place and can't walk straight.
I love them.
Also, thank you to all of our interviewees that we had on the podcast.
Thank you to Nancy and Tracy Conan, and thank you to all of the Tulpas people, and thank you to Dr. Gorski.
And thank you to person who I'm just going to say his name. Thanks to Gareth Marsh, who I interviewed for the Star Citizen episode, and he walked me through the game.
Thank you to all the people who talked to me for 3301. Thank you to Ray, and there was multiple. Thank you to Nox Populi. There were multiple people who I interviewed for that episode that were amazing. Thank you to my former Blizzard coworker who was the researcher at Johns Hopkins. So if you wind up listening to this, thank you. Thank you to Alex, who I also interviewed for MTHFR. Mm-hmm. Thank you to our listener that suggested the topic for that one. Thank you to Alyssa for helping us organize which topics we were going to do on the show, for being our producer. Yes. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. Oh, thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. And I mean, thank you to them. In general. And then thank you to everyone who's listening, obviously. Last but not least, in fact, saving the best for last. I might have had one more thank you. No, actually, I have another thank you. Oh, well, then you better do it right now. Thank you to our incredible friend Ryan for providing our intro, outro music. That's right. And it's incredible. That's right. Our intro, outro music is pretty good, actually. So thank you to Ryan. And yeah, and like I said, last but not least, in fact, but most, is all of our listeners. Super thank you guys for listening to the show. It always gives us the warm fuzzies when somebody says something about like, oh, I love this episode, or I love the show, or just even knowing that like one person is listening is really cool. It is really cool. It just feels really cool. So this is the part of the video game when after you've beaten the video game and you've watched all of the credits, and the very last one is "and you" with an exclamation point. And you, listeners. And you. Yeah. We really, obviously we couldn't be doing this without listeners. And cheesy. Yeah. You need them. Right. So thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you. Because otherwise we would just be speaking into the void,
we do enough of that already, so it's nice to actually speak into the void and have it land on a couple of ears. Yeah.
Thank you for being a wonderful co-host.
And thank me too.
Good
Sorry,
job.
I mean, and thank you too.
The band? Is that you're saying thank you to?
Thank you to you two. You're my favorite album of you. No, sorry. No, but seriously, you have also been a wonderful co-host.
Yeah,
I have
know.
enjoyed the journeys that you've taken me on.
Good.
The things that you have taught me. And I am very much looking forward to our second season.
Oh, man, you guys, there's some
We're going to step it
stuff
up.
afoot.
We're going to step it up.
I don't even know if we're going to step it up. It's just going to be good-ass topics. But yeah, we'll probably also step it up.
We're stepping it up. I have some ideas. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Happy holidays to everyone listening.
Yes, happy holidays, everyone. Hope you enjoy the break from the glut of content that we're spewing at you. Hope you can catch up on some other critical content like...
Yeah, any other podcasts we want to shout out?
Like Hardcore History.
Take this time to listen to Hardcore History, to listen to the Nexium podcast, Uncovering Nexium. Take this time to listen to The Dream.
Serial.
To Brought to You by from Business Insider. What are other? I'm sure there's other podcasts.
My Dad Wrote a Porno.
Yes, those are great podcasts, but they're not related to the show.
What? I don't know. I said Serial. That's not related to our show.
Ooh, what was the Teal Swan one called?
Gateway.
Listen to the Gateway. There's just so much good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of these podcasts for doing the hard work that we then rip off.
Thank you for allowing us to rip you off or not knowing.
Catch up on Reply All because I've ripped off many of their topics.
Yes. And thank you for all of those podcasters anyway, just for like inspiring us.
Yes.
So.
Thank you.
But yeah, so we will, that's enough thanking right now. We will see all of you guys in season 2. Looking forward to it.
It'll be fun.
It will. Oh, are we going to do a judgment for this one?
Are we a cult or are we just weird?
Were the culties a cult or just weird?
Just weird.
Yeah, they were super weird.
Because neither of us are charismatic.
Right, we're definitely not charismatic. Didn't consume that much of our life.
Right.
Harmful? Not really.
Not
except my
ritualistic.
butt hurts from sitting down for so long.
Not religious.
Oh, it's definitely a ritual. Are you kidding me?
It's
Awards shows are hyper real.
Sure, but they're also like planned, and ours was just like,
I wrote things on a paper. What more do you want from me?
Just saying, this is not how you produce the Oscars.
But fair. This is just weird.
Yeah.
Okay. And on that note, this has been season 1 of Cult.
You're not going to just say your name or anything?
Or just weird.
We usually go, I'm Chris, I'm Kayla.
Well, I know. I'm just go with the flow, man.
No, I don't. This is not improv.
Anyway.
There is no yes and here. It is all no
apparently.
but.
Yes, and this is Chris.
This is Kayla.
And this has been season 1 of Cult.
Or
just
weird.
Come on, it's the season finale. We have to do better than that.
That wasn't good?
It was weird. All right, fine.
How do you want to do it?
Fitting. No. Let's do it that way.
All right.
That's good. That's how it's going out.
Bye.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.